Hey, I just woke up. Okay. Sorry, my friend sent me a message and I'm blind. Legally blind. I am legally blind. Um, Hi. Good morning. I sit like a cooked shrimp. I sit like a cooked shrimp. The cooked shrimp. Animals fed. Everyone's fed. Crispy's trying to catch a fly in the thin air, like out of the air. And I've seen it happen before, so I'm excited to see it happen again. Oh, God, it's right. Whoa! He jumped up like a caracal. Wildness. Okay. Now it's hot as a bitch outside. I have to leave the house in about 2 hours, an hour and a half. So I got an hour and a half to fucking get it together. I need something on my face. It's a general guideline. I'm gonna be using this illuminating daily moisturizer with sunscreen. So why did I say like sunscreen? SPF 15. Okay. I'm gonna talk some shit while I let that sit in. So my biggest issue lately, which is not a bad issue to have, is whether or not to continuously shave my eyebrows. Now, I look like a fucking egg. Without eyebrows, I look a little peculiar, silly, goofy, something like that. It's not like giving, I don't know, it's giving like the Antichrist child from Passion of the Christ, you know? Like whenever Satan's like in the fucking, how do you say, the crowd, and then he has a baby, and it's like, do you understand? I look like Satan's little baby. Um, Without eyebrows. I look so weird. But I'm in love with my eyebrows when I draw them on. I love it. I love it. I love that I could go from Frankenfurter to Abuela to fucking ICP person. Like I just love that. The range I can have without eyebrows. And the thing is I don't know how to properly glue my eyebrows down if I grew them out. I don't know how to do that. And my eyebrows are decently thick. So when they do grow in, it's like, like how do you say, Flint Lockwood's dad from Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. Like I just okay. So I've been struggling with growing my eyebrows out or shaving them off, and I think this is day 2 no shave, and they're there, like they're closing in on the race. Can we please talk about like back in the day? Hey, what's up? I'm 32, going on 33 this year. Let's talk about back in the day. AMC was on like the regular satellite TV before they switched over to forcing people to have to buy cable. You could get some bunny ear antennas, put them on your VHS TV combo. That was like we had it made back in the day, brethren. My brother in Christ, we had it made. So I want to talk about a very near and dear memory to my heart as a child, and that was Halloween Day in AMC, playing every single Halloween movie up to that point, which was roughly 2004, 5, 6. Okay. Um, they would do a Halloween movie marathon, and they would start like at the fucking butt crack of dawn, play Halloween 1, 2, and by the time I got on the bus, it was always Halloween 3 was on. And it was like the beginning, like it was just such a very interesting time. And I remember year after year after year, they would do this Halloween movie marathon for the entirety of Halloween. And me and my mom, a fond memory I do have is we would sit there and watch all of the Halloweens on Halloween, or try to, uninterrupted, like a Halloween movie marathon. And it was so nostalgic and good. And I think the last drive-in really brings home some of that nostalgia sometimes. And I love it so much. I love the last drive-in. But because also it's very southern, and it just gives me a different kind of comfort being around southern spooky stuff. I've talked about, being a child and watching the Texas Chainsaw Massacre over and over on AB repeat. We had like this remote for more of the fancier TVs, and it was like a loop setting for a scene, and so you could push A and then B and then push A B repeat, and it would loop a specific scene. And there was one of the scenes in one of the Texas Chainsaw Massacres that me and my friend were very, very distraught about, and we couldn't like get over how it was making us feel and react a certain way. So we put it on repeat. And it was one of the scenes in one of the movies. It's been a minute since I sat through a Texas Chainsaw Massacre marathon. Where the girl just, it's like, and like she just, and I've talked about this before, where we just sat there for hours and hours just like watching it until we fell asleep. And the movie still played while we were sleeping. And later, her grandmother in the morning came to wake us up. We're just both passed out on her bed, drool, right next to each other. And on the TV, and her grandmother, who was a woman who did not cuss, was like, "What the hell is that?" And she got in trouble, I got in trouble. We were both like, it was kind of like, breakfast is ready, get your asses down there, kind of type of thing. And we were just like, we fell asleep trying to, like, because we were hardcore bad bitches, right? And so we weren't gonna let no fucking like throat slit scene trip us out. So we were like, I know what we'll do, we'll desensitize ourselves. And so we were like, yeah, you know what, hell yeah. And so we were just like, and then like it was just so type of shit I'm on. Okay, so anyways, I loved the Halloween movie marathon AMC used to do when I was a kid. Back when everybody had access to, if you had bunny ears, you had access to whatever was in the air, you know? Now it's like you get access, well, almost not anymore because they're trying to cut PBS. Like, I don't know, like, I watch some of the news and I'm just like they brought Elmo out and they're like, is he a communist? I mean, because he is red. And he does talk about sharing and caring and how what's mine is yours and yours is mine. So has he ever been a part of the communist regime? Like, I don't know if y'all have been watching the news in America, but they had to have a hearing on whether or not Elmo was a communist. And that's fucking crazy because they're trying to cut like PBS. Um, yeah, anyways, people were talking about it and calling it fascism from Timu. That's very peculiar and strange and interesting. Now, I have my own very different set of beliefs. I'm not blue, I'm not red, I'm none of that shit. In fact, I'm nobody, I don't exist. Never have, never will. You can't confirm it. Um, not if I light my birth certificate on fire. Can't confirm it. Free trip to El Salvador. Ugh. Anyways. Anyways, it's getting insane here. It's getting peculiar, strange, absurd, and not in the way that I like. Of course, I do love chaos. I love it so much. It's like a old friend that never is not welcome. But this is a different brand, a different flavor. And of course, I was in high school whenever, and a child whenever the Bushes reigned. Um, and that was, I think, didn't Hunter S. Thompson blow his brains out because George Bush got elected? Isn't that why? I don't know. Anyways, I fucking love Halloween. I love that shit. And I love John Carpenter. The dude's hilarious. He's like over there, he like plays video games and he's like when you watch his interviews, he's just a chill guy. No, he's just super nifty. It reminds me of like interviews of whenever Robin Williams is like, yeah, I play Call of Duty. And every once in a while, like there is an interview out there in the dust, in the wind, in the YouTubes of Robin Williams speaking upon being somebody playing Call of Duty, and him and like some guy from out of the country were like teaming up on some 11-year-old cussing a bunch. Like, you know, like it's so real. And I think that's funny. It's funny. Anyways, yeah, just yeah. Anyways, I like seeing people that um just being human. I like when humans act like they're humans. As I look like a fucking monstrosity. I look like Satan's Antichrist child with no eyebrows. um that's another thing because I shuffle between wanting to be a one way and another. And I was looking back through all of my old photos and videos, and I have three very sometimes four very cyclical aspects of my personality that appear throughout the months that grow within me that are externally apparent of what's internally going on. And I always say that my external appearance is more of a mirror for me to go inside and figure out what is happening between and beneath the surface. Um, because there are multiple levels of it. So I was looking at myself last year with red hair and these different things and how I was and who I was at that point in time. And I was like, wow, I can't wait to get back to her because I miss her. But there's also like this in between phase where I'm blonde. There's always an in between phase. And so I could tell when the red will be here because the blonde appears. And also to me, it is much like an alchemical process. If you know anything about alchemy, or I believe it's called Splendor Soul or Splendor Soleil, something of that nature. We keep it around like table talk. I have plaques of it just laying around. If the kids want to grab it, they can. Anybody that comes to my house will have just access to occult information. It's not like it's a gun. You know what I mean? Like people treat it as if it is. They're like, oh, if you go learning the thing, something bad might happen to you. And I'm here to tell you that I think I seen some of the Rocky Horror Picture Show in a house of 1,000 corpses. Like that's what I'm here to tell you. Is I could see a little bit of influence perhaps in some parts, and then other parts I'm like, yeah. When I was a kid, I was a huge Rob Zombie fan. Um, because I was a huge John Carpenter fan, and like really liked Rob Zombie. And I didn't fuck with Slipknot as much. I had a friend who fucked with Slipknot, and I secretly loved Slipknot, but I was like not allowed. You ever have those stupid, disgusting, vile friends who are like, they claim something and that's theirs, that's mine. You're just copying me, you fucking poser, or liking something. I grew up in a very strange time where that was a normality. Like, and one time I wore a tie dye shirt. They're like, "Look at this fucking poser wearing fucking tie dye." Like, it was an ostracization, humiliation ritual. If you left the genre, or if you were happy in the genre, you were never good enough. And it came down to it that this person was just not my friend. They were actually a fucking loser. Like, they were actually a fucking wiener. Okay, so all this being said, I should probably put my eyebrows on. Nah, nah, actually, I lied. I'm not gonna do it. No, yeah, it's just stupid stuff. Like, so I loved Slipknot when I was a kid. I was like, oh, this is very good. I like it a lot. It's very interesting. Um, and of course, you know, people they get very territorial over creative things when they find them, and you discover them later that you're copying me, you know, kind of shit. It's like I didn't know, you know, there's probably a billion people on the planet now, a couple million that know about Slipknot, that like Slipknot. Are you gonna what? You gonna go fucking toe to toe with everybody? Like suck a dick, honeybee. I don't understand. Um, but recently I've been going through the entire discography, and really like enjoying the lyrics and enjoying the sounds and enjoying the background and the this and the that and the multiple levels that Slipknot does have to offer. It's not just face value shit, it's actually layers upon layers upon layers of like psychological evolution and also like projected consciousness. It's a very, very interesting project, I will say. for Corey Taylor and the band members. It's beautiful, and I find much joy in picking things apart. I am very curious, insatiably curious, and I have this. There's a there's a passage I found in a book on a bookmark, and it's the consciousness between the subconscious and the upper levels, the different consciousness when they speak together and you're in harmony, and the beast within you that does not know English can freely rise and fall as it chooses without attacking or being attacked. It is heaven when both streams of consciousness harmoniously interact with each other. There is no heaven and hell, it's just pure bliss and harmony. Um, and so when that stream of consciousness gets cut off, when the beast gets locked back down, and there is no harmonious subconscious integration, to me, that's hell. To me, that's death. To me, that is oblivion, and not in a good way. It is spaghettification. It is horrific whenever your subconscious mind is not allowed to come up and give you these nuggets of divinity from the mass consciousness underneath the world. It's just, it sucks. It's very sad, and it's not peculiar. It's horrific, and it's all you. It's always been you. And so to cast out a part of yourself, it's like, it's hell. So anyways, I have an insatiable curiosity, and I like things that engage both hemispheres as well as upper and lower dimensions. I really enjoy that. That's why I love alchemy and the occult so much, because it's very engaging. It's full engagement of all of you. And it's also an expansion of consciousness in many different levels and way. You could take it at face value, or you could take it underneath, or you could take it sideways, you could take it left, right, you could take it blue, red. I don't give a fuck how you take it. Okay? There's always something to learn. There's always, you look back at it, and there's complete different lesson being presented within the text. I feel like that with Slipknot. And I know it's kind of funny to say, like, oh, this bitch is over here going into alchemy talking about Slipknot. Yeah, I am. Because I feel like certain people just, I don't know, get it, and other people don't, and maybe they'll get it one day along the way. And if not, that's none of my business. Truthfully, it's none of my business. But yeah, I find it to be interesting. So I've been going through the discography, and I was telling my husband about, at the end of one of the songs, they have a Morse code, and I think allegedly it spells out Slipknot. There's just many, many, many layers to their music. I wish I had one of those programs I think I've seen T-Pain have on his computer, where it's like you can pull songs apart and you can pull different, it's like some kind of music program where you could pull different pieces of audio apart and look at their patterns and stuff like that. That's something I'd like to get into, but I'm not a musician. I love singing, but every time I make a song and write a song, I end up crying, and it's just difficult for me to sing. Well, it's not difficult. I love singing. I sing all the time. But when I make my own out of like whatever the depths of something, it's always very heartbreaking. Um, that might be why I love and resonate with Ethel Kane so much, because I'm just like, hell yeah. Yeah, that's a whole another thing, talking about multiple layers and levels of things. But yeah, I love music when it's very, very engaging. I hate music when it's, well, I actually do enjoy it. Okay, so let's talk about it. White House Road. Love that song. I love it live. Now, do I sniff cocaine and folk? Do I folk? Do I folk? Do I sniff cocaine and fuck everybody up and down the creek? No. But I like that song. It's got some in the mouth heart part. As there's like pieces of music I really enjoy. I also like fucking with that Mexican OT, okay? Paul Wall. Alright? Listen, I'm from the fucking South. This is just how it happens sometimes. Just how it happens. And so, but now fucking do I swing and bang? Hey, look, every once in a while, everybody down here does. Okay, everybody wants, like if it's an open, empty road, baby, people be swinging and banging. All right, it's mandatory sometimes. It's just something, you get your Southern card revoked. At least South Texas. If you are not, just sometimes, you know what I mean? But yeah. Also, I think for Fashion Week, Johnny Dang, the guy who makes the grills, if you know anything about South Texas culture, or like having grills, it's like diamond plated um covers for your teeth, and it's very popular amongst rappers, artists like that. And there's a man named Johnny Dang, and he's like he's the original grill person. Anyways, so he was in Paris for like the whole fashion stuff, and it was so wild to see Johnny Dang out there. Like, it's so wild to be like, because you expect people like Chappell Roan and all these famous other people, but then Johnny Dang was out there like, and that to me is like really fucking badass. I was telling my husband, I was like, bro, they had Johnny Dang out there during like Paris Fashion Week. He was out there fucking around and shit. Like, hell yeah. Um, anyways, so this is all a part of just things that I like. I like being engaged. Now, sometimes I like being nullified. Sometimes I like just being numb and being like, whatever. Okay. Singing about cocaine and robbing people. Now, do I do cocaine and rob people? No. Sometimes I enjoy the beat, but I think that's purposefully. Okay. Um, but other times I do like I said, I have this whole like little side project I'm going through where I'm like going through the entire Slipknot discography and like pulling apart songs and pieces and phrases and words and um, beats and things. And it's very, very engaging for me. It's a very fun, engaging side project. I remember being in choir, and every Friday we would have pick pick a song out of a CD day, and so you would bring music to class, and everybody would play a song. And of course, so Wait and Bleed, and then my other friend went next. Was like, "Hey, can I borrow one of your CDs?" And I was like, "Yeah," because I brought my little fucking thing that I kept all my CDs in, and it's like, "Yeah." So she picks System of a Down, and she picks Psycho, and we all got in trouble. And we all got in trouble, and I was like, bitch. I was like, Wait and Bleed. The teacher was like, let me hear those lyrics. Bring out, bring them up. No, the teacher was like, let me hear those lyrics. Bring out the fucking little, they have back in the day, they would have how do you say, like a little booklet at the beginning of a CD purchase. I feel stupid. Anyways, so yes, they would have a booklet at the beginning of the CD purchase with the lyrics all throughout them. And yeah, and so we all learned about Wait and Bleed that day in choir class. Even the people who didn't want anything to do with it. There's kids that are like, my mommy won't let me listen to Slipknot. You're gonna learn today, honey. Um, hi, what's up, Rebecca? It's nice to see you. Sit down, buckle up. Yeah, it's always fun to be like, all right. Anyways, that was fun. Yeah, that choir teacher had was very psychotic. He would throw fucking tantrums and stand on his head for minutes at a time until we shut up. Like, and we were just kids talking, and he would like start crying and screaming. The dude was like psychotic. I'm talking insane, and I hated him. But now, do I really know him? No, but he was a terrible teacher. He was a terrible teacher. He had a thing for those wealthy girls, and he was very biased amongst me and my friends. Of course, of course. And I met one of my lifelong friends in that choir class. Yeah, now she's my sister-in-law. And it's so funny because we were supposed to do it like all three. Well, there's three people that were supposed to sing this like piece for choir, right? And it was me, her. That was the first that we got paired together. He was like picking people out of choir class and making them sing next to each other. And he was like, you, and you. And like it was us three girls that were kind of like the other girl, I forgot her name, but she was also kind of like a weird outcast girl. She was kind of like into like anime books in the back of the bookstore, like hiding and reading them, kind of thing. But I think she was very like in a conservative family. So, anyways, it was very funny because they picked us three weirdos, and um I was so embarrassed, and everyone's like, "Girl, I didn't know you could sing like that." Because he like picked us out and said, "You sing the part," and so we had to stand up and like sing it, and everyone was like at me, and I was just like, "I don't know what I sound like. Like, I don't know what I sound like. Like, I'm deaf from myself. I don't know what I sound like." But everyone was like, and then they picked my friend, who's now my sister-in-law, and so we all kind of went up there, and he made us stand in front of the, we were like those kids in the back, quiet, weird ones, but I wasn't quiet. She was very quiet. I was very loud and obnoxious. I was wrestling boys and hitting boys at that age, and they were hitting me back, and it was just a thing. And then I got in trouble for hitting boys, and boys got in trouble for hitting me. So, anyways, that's, yeah. Anyways, so we got sent down in front of the class, and we were all singing, and everyone was like, because they I guess they expected like only good singers come from rich white kids that go to church. Like, it was just a whole thing. Hold up. They didn't expect us greasy, nasty, lyrics written on our wrists, scar mark fucking kids to have any kind of value, which is extremely stupid and classist and ignorant. And I've been trying to not take what people do and say as malice and more as just pure ignorance lately, but it takes me a moment to be like, like, and I'm like, oh, okay, it's just ignorance. Okay. So you're just ignorant. You're not truly full of malice and hate and disdain towards me, correct? Anyways, yeah, so it was just very stupid. And of course, we had this bratty girl who came from a very wealthy family, and she would go around fucking everybody that I liked or that my friends liked, just to say, I guess, because she could do it. Because she could do it. But now she's like, she has a really bad life. And so I was laying in bed last night. I was laying in bed last night going for jugulars in my head. And I was like, everybody who has ever fucking made fun of me in high school, in my early years, in my preteen years or whatever, whoever fucked me over, has fallen pretty far from the grace of God. They are not successful, and everyone hates them. I was like, I just must have been like at the beginning of the wave. You know what I mean? How like there's like the wave, and then there's a like I just must have been the very first part of it. And then everyone else got onto the shit I was on. I was like, nah, fuck that bitch. She's a fucking bitch. And I was like, what are you talking about? She's so nice. All she does is fuck everybody. Like, I don't know what the problem is. All she is super wealthy and gets whatever she wants from her daddy. Like, what's the problem? And I was just like, I don't know, man. Something about her. I just want to fucking. But whatever. And then she had the audacity to call me a whore one time. And I was like, because I broke up with some guy because I didn't like him. I broke up with him and like within 24 hours. I think if you don't like somebody, you should just leave them, and it's nothing personal. I'm not saying your whole entire bloodline is shit because I did not choose you. Like, grow up. Like, there's 8 billion people on the planet, homie. Grow the fuck up. Like, go fuck off. You know what I mean? Anyways, I can talk about. But yeah. Anybody who's ever really fucked me over or been like a total douchebag towards me, in one way, shape, or form, has literally fallen down this spiral staircase straight to the pits of hell. Um, Now, do I care? No. But I did have a good laugh, and I was like, I am grateful to be alive. I'm grateful that I made it through um, the wilderness. Anyways, no, I'm grateful to be alive. I am. Like, I'm really grateful to be alive. But anyways, I miss AMC playing Halloween all day long. I miss that. I do. I miss it. Now you gotta subscribe to AMC Plus and get Shudder through Amazon Prime. You know, like, just shut the fuck up, bro. Give me the bunny ears back and just give me my fucking Halloween marathon. Anyways, I'm so sad because um I get nostalgic of stuff like that, and of course I get targeted by ads on Instagram and shit like that, or Etsy, and I love it. I love supporting small businesses. I really do. Um, and nostalgia is quite the fucking kick to the gut sometimes. But mhm, I think that people really do not understand. Um, you have to put in the work to change. You have to put in the hours. Like I tell my friends, therapy or trauma. Let's say you survive a trauma, okay? Plenty of people just want to end it. You know, plenty of people just want to end it, okay? And that's because you wouldn't change. You want things to change. You want things to change permanently. And your brain, sometimes that lower part doesn't understand big boy words. So it's like, maybe we should go for a swing. Like, no, slut. Stop fucking with me, girl. No. Stop it. You know, like, maybe we should go off the end of the jetty. Feminine. It's a very feminine thing. A lot of girls that I've talked to and we've talked and confided about trauma to each other, they always want to become a part of the ocean, like a permanent, you know, like dissolving into nothingness. It's a very prominent, very popular end end for girls, girly pops, girls, to want to go off the end of the jetties and into nothingness. I don't know why it is like that, but I've also had those feelings at least once or twice or three times a lady in my life. And it's just a very similar vision that women have whenever they become stressed and held down and forced to conform and fuck up their body parts to fit into holes that they shouldn't be in. Um, there's always like this just like walking off into the water until nothingness, and it is not romantic, but it is poetic. It's beautiful and horrifically sad because nobody should ever have to feel like that. But it's something much deeper. If we really want to get into it, it is the drop in the ocean and the ocean in the drop. Let's get into that for a second because I'm there. So, in astrology, present and Babylonian, the 12th house has to do with the parts of humanity that are Piscean in nature. It's the house of Pisces. But in Babylonian astrology, it was the house where your enemies were. Allegedly, according to a Hellenistic astrologer that I spoke to one time, she said that historically, the Babylonians believed that the 12th house, according to where Babylon was at, astrology was actually not just houses, but places in the world, according to Babylon. So in the 12th house, that was a place of foreign enemies as well as something far and foreign that needed to be integrated into you, something detached from you, but yet you too, because it's all a part of the collective, yes? And so Piscean energy, naturally, the waters, carries with it multiple things. One, collective consciousness. Two, struggle of the mother and child, running away from horrific terror, destruction, and calamity. Three, chaos, absolute chaos, but divinity and bliss within one. Four, a lot of people, it's the foreign house, the house that is far away from you. It is the house of not just foreign enemies or enemies as in something that needs to be integrated or fought out in order to unify. Because battle, hitting somebody, clocking them in the face is also a form of unity. Okay? Shedding blood with each other is a unification process, is it not? With the blood brothers and things of this nature. The spilling of blood is also a unification process. It is the binding and winding of things. So there are many, 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 and infinite descriptions I could get into. I am an astrologer, and if you ask me astrology questions, the thing comes up and awakens, starts speaking like a puppet through me. So all of these things being said, the 12th house and astrology, sometimes it's things we cannot access. It is the collective consciousness as well as the subconscious mind. It is things that are ours and yet they seem hours away. Do you understand what I'm saying? It is a very peculiar place, but it is that unification process. And so I feel, even though Pisces is very feminine, like I said, it is the two fish bound and wound together, avoiding calamity and chaos and destruction, the evil monster in the rivers. It is Venus and her child trying to escape. I believe. I could be wrong about that mythos, but it's told in many different ways across many different planes of time. The same story, it's a mother and child bound together by a string that's creating a whirlpool, trying to get away from the bigger chaos. They're creating a chaotic mix in order to leave and break through from a masculine chaos seeking to devour the women and children of sorts. Okay, that's just one way people talk about it. Another way, especially more Western, we talk about it as people say it's the hidden house. Yes, of course, because in Babylonian times it was over the hills in Babylon. We could not see our enemies from across the hill, so it was hidden. You could not see over the hills what the enemy was doing or what the foreign camp, literally of humans or people or species, whatever the fuck they were in Babylonian times, was doing. Okay, and so from that we have the 12th house in astrology nowadays. Now, getting into Vedic astrology, that's a completely different thing, but I'm not going to touch that because I'm not properly like steeped in Vedic astrology, but I am in other things. So I have very peculiar 12th house placements. And if you have peculiar 12th house placements, you will, or aspects, or planets sitting in that house, asteroids or stars sitting in that house, you will feel more drawn to things that are hidden, a different place, a place that is masked. Between the mask and the mirror, you will be pulled into this place that exists and does not exist. Infinity within the tip of your fingernail. You know what I mean? It is a very interesting, beautiful, strange place to be. Now, addicts, let's get into that. People with severe drug addictions, severe vices on this plane of consciousness, this 3D realm, this earth, people who are addicted to all kinds of different things, not just food or media or shopping, or this addiction of all sorts can be found within Piscean placements, Neptune, and the 12th house. They are like all these things, which all wrap around the 12th house. Neptune does as well. So it is our place to become one with God, the gods, all aspects of human consciousness, as well as, I'm so sorry, I'm doing this without eyebrows. Fuck it, we ball. As well as, how do you say, nirvana and pure bliss. So, people, they will seek. I don't know if you've ever died. I've died a couple of times, but the biggest death I died, um, it was ecstasy and oblivion in one, and there was no torment, no pain, no nothing. It was just beautiful, absolutely. And here's the thing, addicts chase that because every time you get addicted to a drug that will send you to that place, it is a death. It is a small death, a tiny death. But sometimes people die the big death, seeking the small death, chasing the white horse. I'm just kidding, but yes, you understand. Um, it's like that seductive embrace with oblivion, true death, true actual death. And so you have to be careful, number one, because yeah, that's where addiction comes from, that 12th house, that thing you can't see. Now, what is a hidden enemy that you cannot see? Trauma. Hidden enemies could be just things that you have repressed sent down below, things that are below. Now, the important thing is to look at the house in opposition to the 12th house and see if you have any planets, placements, or aspects there. It's important for you to integrate the opposition. It's not always about ops and being like, I'm here, you're there, na 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 boo boo, stick your head in doo doo. It's not always about that. Sometimes, like I said, fucking, fighting, shedding blood. Integration sometimes comes from places we don't always expect. Um, and so the reason why two people sometimes are sitting at oppositions with each other and clearly looking there's a tension is because it's a need to either switch sides or become integrated, to flip flop. And it's very important to understand your place in this realm and to understand if you have this. We all have Neptune in our birth charts, but and Pisces to an extent will have aspects, how do you say, transits traveling across your 12th house at least once or twice or three times a lady in your life. All of these things being said, you can find people chasing that kind of oblivion, and as it is very feminine because it's always been feminine to be a part of everything. A woman holds a seed from a seed from a seed. If you don't know this, let me put you on real quick. I have, and I was, okay, I was a egg within my mother's body when her body within my grandmother chose the sex female. Okay, I was in my mother's ovarian sacs then. And so trauma, it does go from the mother to the child to the daughter. Okay, the whole truth of the matter of the fact is that we live in a planet that is ruled by females. I don't give a fuck how you grow a child in a petri dish. Trauma still, it translates through DNA. Okay, give somebody a heart of somebody that has been through a traumatic event, and they will eventually integrate that DNA within themselves and learn on some cellular level the kind of truths that come from that heart. Not only to get into that, hearts also have a certain type of neurons within them, very similar to the brain structure. So hearts do hold memories. Yeah, it's just it's calamity schmamity. It's beautiful, it's crazy, it's peculiar, it's very engaging, and I love it a lot. Um, Living is so delicious because there are all these sensations and pleasures, but the female desire to walk off into the jetties, into the ocean, and become nothing and all, it comes from a deeper place within our human genetics, within our DNA, and our desires to fulfill that beautiful wheel of fortune, our desires to integrate that 12th house stranger, that tall, dark stranger with that hat on, into our awareness and to accept what is and what is not and what never will be and what always was. It is an integration and acceptance process. It is a very, very, very is it tumultuous? There's a lot of pain and tension that goes along the way of discovering who you are. But if you have the cojones and you have the time and maybe a little money, I always say, there is therapy in surviving trauma. Like I said, whenever you don't end, surviving trauma will take hundreds of hours and thousands of dollars. It's not free to live. Go ahead and survive a traumatic act. Survive half of the things I have, and you will find yourself going, God damn, why didn't you just hit me with the car? Would have been cheaper to have a funeral. But it's just also my humor is very death orientated because it's a reality. It's a reality we have to love and accept. It's a part of who we are. One day, but the big void will come for me as well, permanently or something of that nature, and I will no longer exist, and you will no longer exist. And it's a fact. It's a truth. It's a perhaps not a fact, but it's a thing that happens, and so you have to accept it. You have to love it in a way. It's a part of us in a way. It's a part of our story. When it comes, we will not know. Maybe you will know, but you'll never really know. It's always a surprise. And yes. So all of this being said, I really need to shut this fucker off and go draw my eyebrows on and stop talking about astrology. But here's the thing, I love astrology. I am an astrologer at heart. If I don't do astrology, talk about astrology, or involve myself in astrology of some way, shape, or form, I will fucking explode. I love the stars and I love music, but I'm not a musician. That's my husband. My husband's very music oriented. He dreams in music and things of this nature. He can listen to something on the radio and immediately play it without knowing. He's just gifted in that way, and I'm not. Now, can I learn that? Yes, I can integrate that through hundreds of hours and thousands of dollars of lessons. Yes, I could become a musician, but I'm not. The music I pull is very sorrowful, and it comes from a place that's different than him just being able to tune and feel and see and all these things, you know? And so all I was trying to say is that it's completely normal to feel like you want things to end. It is a completely normal sensation within life. But the truth is that you want change, you want integration, you want the big fight, you want the op to come to you and to you squash it, to fix it, to rectify a wrong. You know, and sometimes revenge does have a huge, hefty cost. It costs generations of horse shit, Hatfields and McCoys, okay, type of shit. Life is so strange, and it's taken me every ounce of every molecule in my body to not sometimes want to hunt down my abusers and just, but I can't do that because I have a life now and I'm very happy. And for some odd reason, I don't know if God does exist on some way, shape, or level, or if it's just a manifestation of the collective consciousness to an extent. But karma and rectifying happens within their own life. Like, you are allowed to fuck around, but you will find out. It's something that I've learned through watching all my abusers eat shit and end up dying in some way. And there's nothing wrong with that, because sometimes instead of rectifying the wrong, you just have to cut the fuck, you have to snip the bud, is what they call it. Um, and restart. If there's anything I learned from like Eastern and type of consciousness, is the gods and the way that they think, that this is all it, you'll come back and you'll reenact and you'll keep fine-tuning your soul, your spirit, whatever you need, until you're at that right fucking harmony with everything, and then you'll be in that kind of ecstasy and oblivion, and that's fine. Now, do I know everything? No, dude, I'm fucking stupid. But through my stupidity, I find out a lot of beautiful, beautiful things. I make great connections with people that I genuinely love and adore. And through fucking around and finding out, sometimes you never know if that quiet kid in the back of choir class is going to end up being one of your greatest allies and sister in law one day. And then your kids will grow up together. Isn't that peculiar? All from being in a choir class with a man child who stood on his head like a fucking psychopath. Mm-mm-mm-mm-mm. So good. I love being alive and looking back and being like, wow, you know what I mean? And I'm not even going to get into the comrades that have fallen along the way that I do love and miss dearly, because they're still here, just beyond our fingertips in that other realm. They're still here supporting us and laughing and crying with us and telling us that we're fucking stupid. Um, and I love them very much. So, yeah, I'm going to go. I don't know why I told you guys that. Whatever. Okay, goodbye.